Dorchester's only hyperlocal podcast for news, commentary, and analysis. We have a great program today about the Neponset Greenway Council. Really excited to chat with those folks and to give you a little more information about what's going on with that organization. But before we get to that, we always are joined by someone from the Dorchester Reporter. And Bill is back with us.
Yeah, you drew the short straw today. I'm back after a week of Seth Daniels entertaining anyone.
Too much fun.
You did.
Last week.
I think you'd still be talking football if. We should just get this out of the way.
No, there isn't really much to talk about on sports front this week. So moving along swiftly to the news.
Did you notice my screensaver?
Oh, jeez. Any team they could have lost to, and it had to be the Patriots.
Yeah, I listen. You're 4-1, so you can't complain too hard here. But obviously, a big win for the Patriots, maybe season-changing win for the Patriots. I think the Bills are going to be just fine. But 23-20, and Drake May looked like, the wonder kid that we all thought he was going to be.
He was bailed out by Steph Diggs.
Yeah, Steph Diggs. I've been very impressed with him, and he's sending the right message ahead of the game this weekend against the Saints, too.
Honestly, I was thinking he was going to be talking a whole lot of crap, and he didn't.
No,
nice.
He actually said this Saints game, though, I don't know, this is maybe a dig by Diggs, is that he thinks that the game against the Saints is even a bigger challenge for the Patriots than the Bills. Because
you can get the hell out of here.
You got to listen to them.
I don't need to.
Okay.
I'm moving on. We're looking at the Falcons, which, by the way, is a Monday night game. And I'm going to be in London, so I have to find a pub that will play Monday Night Football overnight.
Won't be a problem.
No,
I'm sure you're going to find someplace. I've watched American football in London before. It can be done.
There's no commercials.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
That is amazing.
Also, I never sleep when I'm over there anyway, so why not go to the pub?
Well, have a great time. And what else are you going to be doing while you're in the UK?
So I want to preview next week's episode because while I am going for a work trip, I'm also going to take a couple of days and go to Dorchester, UK. Nice. I have a whole bunch of stuff lined up to go see what the town looked like before they started moving over here. I'm going to the History Museum. I'm talking with their historian.
That's some bucket list stuff right there.
It's really cool.
Especially Dorchester Reporter journalists and alum who've been trying to get me to pay the freight for a Dorchester Reporter exclusive tour of Dorchester, England for decades now. It hasn't happened. So you're like pioneering this.
I'm really excited. And the guy who lives over there, David Cookson, who wrote a book about John White, the founder of this whole Dorchester project, never came here, but was like the benefactor. He is going to be my tour guide. And we're also talking about the 400th anniversary of Dorchester, which is in 2030.
Right.
So we're starting to lay the groundwork for some planning there.
Yeah, I know there's been some folks talking about that already for a few years now here in Dorchester, part of the Dorchester Day Parade Committee and celebrations folks. So that, I think, is going to be a fascinating episode of Dot Life.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Cool.
See how quickly I got you off the Bills?
I got it in at least. I had to say something.
I was going to be mad.
Yeah. The whole production team here would have been
rioted.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got a few things to touch on today. Kearney Hospital site, new stuff. And then we're going to talk about two different stories out of Savin Hill. And then some K-pop news, which isn't normally what we cover.
No, I'm not that familiar with K-pop. I know a little bit more about football, actually, than K-pop, so you'll be surprised. But the Kearney Hospital story is our lead this week for a reason. It's obviously the Kearney closed in August 2024. Big deal. We've talked about it multiple times. Yep. What's next at the Kearney? And now we have an inkling of what might be next, which is a developer has been hired by the property owners to come up with a plan and execute it, presumably. And that person is Tom O'Brien, who's the CEO of HYM, one of the big development firms in the city. He formerly ran the BRA when it was known as the BRA back under the Tom Menino administration, has gone on to a very successful career developing properties in and around Greater Boston, and presently is most recently took down the Government Center garage and is building new buildings there.
Wow. Okay.
Also controls the Suffolk Downs site in East Boston, which is potentially going to be 70 plus buildings on that site.
Is that not a racetrack anymore?
No, it's a defunct racetrack. They actually have they had some concert there this summer in the old racetrack, so it's still there, but it no longer has racing going on.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
So that's going to be a whole new neighborhood over there in East Boston.
Is he well regarded in like the developer world?
He is.
Okay.
I think I'd say he is a prominent, well-respected developer with a track record that's that's out there and measurable. He was also respected as an urban planner under the Medina administration. Now, he hasn't had all success all the time, like every developer out there.
Yeah.
There's been challenges, but I think he brings to the table here, gravitas and a connection and network that's going to be very helpful for him to pull together some sort of path forward. Now, what that'll be and what the consensus will be about the reuse of the site may be controversial, and I expect it will be in part.
Are there any hints as to what will be there now?
There are. And let's frame this just to say, obviously, the Kearney Hospital buildings are still there. There are a few buildings on the site, including the main hospital, which is essentially shuttered and maybe boarded up soon because it's a risk for safety reasons.
Right. It's in a little removed area too, butting up to the park, so there's access from different spots. And
there is, and the building in the back, which is a newer building, where the Seton Medical Building is also empty now.
Okay.
They closed that in May, so the campus is essentially a ghost town.
Yeah.
And there's some urgency around what are we going to do with these buildings? Can they be salvaged? Tom O'Brien's answer basically is it's not likely. These buildings will most likely come down to make room for the next iteration on this 12-acre campus. And, multiple people, including Mayor Wu and others, have said publicly they want a new healthcare service on this site.
Yep.
The task force that was created by Mayor Wu and Governor Healy issued a report last April that said as much as well, that primarily the ideal reuse will be a medical, healthcare service facility.
Because that's really the only healthcare in Dorchester at this point, or no, it's not. It was the only, right?
It was the only hospital, community hospital. We have health center. We have a network of 10 health centers, et cetera, and some urgent care, obviously pharmacies here and there. But that was the community hospital in Dorchester. It's gone. We're not going to have another hospital. That's pretty clear. I think consensus is this will be something short of a full service hospital.
Okay.
It might be a multi-purpose sort of super health center sort of thing where you'd have urgent care and specialty units for things like dialysis or cancer treatments, and it could be a pretty large footprint building, but it most likely won't be a hospital like in the traditional sense,
like with inpatient beds and things, or will there be some of that?
It's not likely that there'd be inpatient beds, although there could be some specialty units. So again,
this is a lot of what John Fitzgerald talked about on the podcast, actually, that we could use this space to specialize and bring people here seeking out that specialty service.
Correct. So that's kind of a blank slate right now. I mean, Tom O'Brien and his team it's in the early stages. They're describing it as the listening stages, where they're going just now to civic associations, e-boards, elected officials around Dorchester, Mattapan, soliciting input. And so it's clear that his goal is to have a healthcare component on the site, along with probably housing of a mix of kinds of housing. Could be specifically for seniors, could be assisted living, it could be a mix of market rate and those things. It's likely to be a blend, and it's likely to be a situation where there's multiple entities in control of that land or leasing
good, right?
it.
Like having mixed use facilities around makes it not just one type. It's like community.
I think there's still a growing consensus around that, and there's a debate. And so there's some folks who are, if you go on our Facebook page and see the reaction to this story, tons of people still want, reopen the hospital.
Yeah.
We need a community hospital. There's a strong sentiment and quite a bit of bitterness about how this went down last year.
Yeah.
I mean, I still feel that way.
Yeah.
I'm almost in a butter to Kearney. It's on the other side of Dorchester Park. not having that resource close to home for not only our families, but, especially our seniors and our children in emergency situations has been a huge disruption. And it's a big blow to our economy in Dorchester.
Do you have less sirens, though?
I don't hear the sirens anymore. I think I've been in the city long enough that that stuff doesn't. It's kind of white noise for me.
You need to get a cockatiel, because I have a cockatiel, and they add to the siren every time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there you go.
Oh, a bird?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah.
I'll look into that. Aaron. Thank you for the advice.
If you want one, I
have
one.
I do hear the plane noise lately, because that's getting worse.
It's gotten worse, yeah.
And they fly right over
the
Kearney. So back to the Kearney for a second.
Yes.
I think we'll find out more in the next couple of months what the fine print might be here on the plan.
Yeah.
Tom O'Brien and his team will tell you there isn't a plan yet. I think they have a rough idea of what could work there.
Okay.
And they want to go through the paces of listening to people, maybe, letting that inform their next step, and let the market help inform it.
Right.
They need to find an operator who's willing to come in and invest in a healthcare facility in this part of the city. And, by all accounts, that didn't happen last time. Part of it's because of the deferred maintenance problems at the Kearney, and other buildings were seen as more viable. But there were obviously choices made at high levels of government that they just weren't going to, use their cards that they could have used.
Right.
Eminent domain could have been used here.
Yeah.
It was used in Brighton. There was a decision made at the governor's level not to pursue that. Yeah. But that ship has sailed. I mean, we're in a different frame here. We're in a different mode where, we have to be realistic about the market forces. And the biggest element here is the government doesn't control this land. It's privately owned. It's owned by a company that's owns, thousands of, properties all over the globe.
Yeah.
It's literally called Apollo Global Management. And so they're the landlords. They own the property. They will, ultimately have a big say in what happens. But they've hired Tom O'Brien to really guide that process.
Yeah.
And I think from a local perspective, that's a good outcome.
So do you think I should let go of my dream of it being a Wegmans?
I don't think you're going to see a Wegmans or a retail of that footprint there now. I think you're going to – there's other places in Dorchester that could use a Wegmans. Morrissey Boulevard, probably other parts that –
Gallivan maybe over on –
yeah, the old Walgreens, and it's not likely to go there for some certain reasons. But, it's not going to be a Wegmans, sorry.
I think that's good. We need more housing. We need some healthcare component. So, let's see what they come up with.
So watch for them to come. I know they're coming to the Lower Mill Civic Association on October 21st at 7 o'clock, St. Gregory's Gym. They'll no doubt be at the Columbia Savin Hill meeting in November.
I'm sure they'll come to Ashma Adams.
All kinds of places in between. There'll be dozens of appearances. And this is the chance for folks to show up at those meetings or to go online and, make your feelings known. But especially to go to the meetings if you can. Yeah.
Cool. Well, we'll keep our eyes peeled, and I'm sure you'll have the latest when you get it.
We'll keep you informed.
Let's switch to Savin Hill. Speaking of Columbia Savin Hill. You have a story in the Reporter this week about new decor at Savin Bar and Kitchen.
Right. Bit of a controversy at the moment for the restaurateurs at Savin Bar and Kitchen, which many people would know recently had a major, kind of exposure nationally. Gordon Ramsay brought his reality TV show, I think it's called Secret Service, and it goes in. It's basically a restaurant makeover show. They went in earlier this year. Filmed an episode there that's already aired, and people can check it out. I don't know what network it's on, but you can find it on YouTube for sure.
Okay.
And they kind of rebranded the restaurant. Went in, Gordon Ramsay. It's kind of a it's all a setup where he goes in at night and inspects the kitchen and actually finds that it's pristine and in great shape.
Oh, nice.
But finds that the restaurant needs a rebrand, new identity, and ultimately, shakes up kind of the management and says, you got to treat your employees better, that kind of stuff.
Okay. But
the leave behind included a decor makeover, and they used as really the hook this building, the site, the location's connection to Boston's, mobster underworld.
Yeah.
And specifically James Whitey Bulger and his crew.
So was Savin Hill at large the connection, or this actual building had something?
This actual corner was formerly home to a tavern called Bulldogs, which was owned by a gentleman named Eddie Connors, who unfortunately was murdered in 1975, allegedly by the Bulger crew. It's pretty well established that it was one of them, maybe Whitey Bulger himself, maybe one of his associates. And he was killed on Morrissey Boulevard in a phone booth in a very high-profile assassination back in really the heyday of the gangland killings in Boston. And it's true that Eddie Connors owned the building that was there once. It's long gone. It's been bulldozed. There's condos there. And Savin Bar and Kitchen and Ghost Pepper are the restaurants on the ground level. So, and they're both owned by the same men. Driscoll, DeConto, and Ken Oshiro own the building now.
Not mobsters, as far as we know.
Not as far as I know, and I'm sure they're not. But they've owned it since the last 15 years or so. But this rebrand involves invoking the images of James Whitey Bulger prominentely inside the restaurant. In fact, right in the foyer when you walk in, there's a poster size. It's the mugshot from the 1950s when it was a youthful Whitey Bulger. When he was arrested for bank robbery in 1950s. Before he went to Alcatraz.
Is there more than just this photo?
There are other mugshots inside of people associated with the Winter Hill Gang, which Whitey's connection. That's the name of the gang he kind of came up in. And there was a guy named Stephen the Rifleman Flemmy, who was likely Whitey's associate in the killing of Eddie Connors. So it's kind of macabre, and it's, I get it. There is a true history behind that at that location.
It is a distinctive history for a business like that to have that kind of.
It is
Bragging rights. Is that the right word?
I guess. I mean, for a lot of people in the neighborhood, though, and the reason this is in the paper this week is because Monday evening, Columbia Savin Hill Civic Association, this came up. And people raised it as, wait a minute, like, this is outrageous. People were offended by it, the people who brought it up. And there was a discussion at the meeting, and they decided to take a vote to pursue, at their next meeting, a petition to try to get the restaurateurs to change up and to take these images down. Even in the few hours since our story posted, there's been a couple of hundred comments on it, and there's a divide. There's people who say, "Well, wait a minute, that was 50 years ago.
It's part of our history.
It's part of the history of Boston, et cetera, and specific to that location." And then other people are like, "Well, wait a minute, these guys terrorized this neighborhood. Whitey and his crew, killed people from our neighborhood, buried some of them in graves in places like Tinian Beach and." Along the Greenway, unfortunately, that we'll talk about in this episode a little bit. But the bottom line is, like, there's a terrible history there in not only South Boston, where he's at most identifiable, but in Dorchester too. And some of his victims were Dorchester residents.
And people probably still here who are related to or knew them and connected to them and feel personally affronted by this.
That's undoubtedly true. And they're an older demographic now. But they have grandkids, and it's still pretty raw, actually. And you could see that in the comments. You could hear it at the meeting on Monday night. Seth Daniel was there for us and wrote about it. And we, in fairness, reached out to Driscoll and Ken, the owners, and they make a defense of it. They say, no, this is part of the history here. We're not, and they've put a disclaimer on one of the posters saying this is not meant to glorify Whitey or mobsters in general. It's just, this is kind of a unique connection. Obviously, at the root of this is this sort of commercial makeover that's intended to do exactly what we're doing now. Get people talking.
It's bringing people in, especially from outside of Boston now, who see the episode and are like, oh, I want to go check that out.
Probably. And, I will say, like, the episode of his show, and I'm sure it's kind of a contrived thing. These reality TV shows, they're all scripted nowadays. But the impression you got was it's a pretty quality restaurant, actually. And it was before Gordon Ramsay showed up. Like, the chef, the general manager, the people who were actually the grunt workers in the restaurant are, doing a good job, and they were. So it's kind of like, well, we did this whole, like, sort of image reveal, but the food itself is great. people in the neighborhood do enjoy patronizing this spot, and they have for years. It used to be Donovan's before it was Savin Bar and Kitchen, and it's a really important place to a lot of people. So there's a little bit of disappointment that this sort of rebrand is going to some people won't go in there for this reason, and that's fair play.
Right.
It's also fair play for the owners to say, well, this is our decision.
Right.
This is where we want to go with it. And I think they'll just have to, let's see what the market decides to do, and that might dictate things.
It's interesting. There's a bar in Manhattan that's or a restaurant that's called, I think, Little Rebel, that has all celebrity mugshots on the wall, and they're not labeled, so you're trying to figure out. They look terrible in most of them.
Yeah.
But like Lindsay Lohan didn't, murder anybody.
Yeah, Jim Morrison didn't, you know what I mean? He got arrested for I don't know,
marijuana
exposing himself or something at a concert. I mean, these are like serial killers in the Boston context. This is like, not only did they kill people with, murdering other, mob affiliated people, a lot of people died from, drugs that they were peddling. And so that's another piece of it that's real in our neighborhoods, is like that drug epidemic tore through a lot of families and still does.
Right.
And they're culprits in that, no question about it. So it's a little soul-searching moment. I mean, Gordon Ramsay, he doesn't give a shit, right?
Yeah.
Like he came in and said, this is a great idea, let's do this. It's about the local ownership needs to take stock and say, okay, this is a great buzz thing to do, but is it really the right fit? I mean, if it was me, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But
the Savin Hill episode that we did a couple of weeks ago with Bill Walczak, we mentioned, I think that was a 45-minute interview, and I think like 5 minutes of it was about the mob activity in Savin Hill, and that was the comment that we got on that episode was, why are we glorifying gangsters? Which, if you listen to the episode, we were not glorifying anyone, but that is a raw point in that neighborhood for sure.
And it is, look, we have it. There's a history that's real. And,
exactly.
Can we whitewash it, forget about it? I mean, I don't think anybody's making that argument. It's just like, it's a poster-sized mugshot of Whitey Bulger, like as soon as you walk in.
And you think about like John Lewis's mugshot. That was in the time, he was arrested, but it was like a glorification of him now because he was the good trouble theory, right? And even like Trump's mugshot has been used to amp people up.
Sure.
So
it can be iconic.
Yeah.
It's an iconic image.
Right.
But in the context of a murdering, sort of monster. And, the other analogy I've heard is Al Capone. And I've been to a restaurant in Boston called the Stockyard over in Brighton. And they have Al Capone's bar. Like his original bar from Chicago, apparently, and it's a big feature of that restaurant. So it's like, and Driscoll DeCanto mentioned in our interview that Seth did, there's other restaurants. Why are they picking on us? It's like it's still pretty raw. There are people walking around who had encountered this guy in real life. Right. And by the way, Steve Flemmi, whose portrait is also in there, his mugshot. He's still alive in prison, 91 years old. He just
died since I've lived in Boston.
Yeah, he died
5 years ago?
He was killed in prison. Yeah. But Flemmi's still alive in prison and is up for parole in 2 years, believe it or not. So this is not that old history.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Wow. Anyway, let's move on to other Savin Hill.
This is another Savin Hill story. It's probably a little lighter. It's about redoing the parks there. Well, one of them's just recently been redone.
Okay. Which one is that?
McConnell Park was restored. Actually looks beautiful, I think. The playgrounds, the playing fields there in the last couple of years.
Of that in the paper.
And but there is a little bit of controversy because it's still an access way through there, like almost like a driveway that connects the yacht club, and there's some parking area there. And a child was hit by a vehicle over the summer in that stretch, and people are very concerned because it's right between the playground, the beach, and the playing fields, and there's tons of kids.
Yeah. But
there's motorists too, and it's confusing. It's confusing for motorists as well as pedestrians.
Okay.
So the interim parks commissioner came by this meeting on Monday, Columbia Savin Hill.
That was a fiery civic meeting.
Yeah, I think the park stuff was the front end, and then later on we get into the Whitey stuff.
Yeah.
But the parks commissioner was really there to also talk about, in addition to trying to make some safety improvements there at McConnell.
Yeah.
They are going to do some renovations at the other Savin Hill Park, which is kind of the original Savin Hill, but with his tennis courts and a basketball court on the hill, the side of the hill there. So she was on hand. And you may prompt me on her name. She's the new interim commissioner of the Parks Department.
Baker Eclipse?
Yes.
Yep.
And she was there to tell people, hey, this is coming in 2026. We expect to start, coming back to you with plans and to get this going. So
good.
On the good news side in Savin Hill, improvements to the parks and a commitment from the city to try to do a better job with the safety for the kids around the play area and the playgrounds that are there. And neighbors had a lot of advice for city officials, and they were there to hear it. So that's good.
That's good. There's a lot of park renovations. We talked in a couple episodes ago about Dorchester Park has been had a facelift.
Walsh Park, dedication of Walsh Park last week, and there's an article about that this week. $4 million into Walsh. Looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
And, this has been not only obviously under Michelle Wu, this has continued. It was under Marty Walsh.
Yeah.
The Walsh administration put a lot of effort into renovating parks and getting the ball rolling. And the current administration is following through on that.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. All right. What's your K-pop story here? Because I don't usually read about K-pop in the Dorchester Reporter.
No, you don't? Yeah, you're not reading as carefully as you should be. K-pop is obviously for the uninitiated, including myself. It's a really popular, especially with the teenage, young adult set of Korean-based pop music.
BTS,
yes,
famously is probably the most
one of my
well-known.
faves right there. But what we found recently, and Seth Daniel once again, just getting all the scoops. And mainly because of his daughter Taryn, who's a K-pop fan, plugged him in the fact that the Strand Theater is becoming a popular destination for Korean-based K-pop bands when they come and tour in the U.S. And
that does not compute.
I didn't think so either, but it's right here, and they're selling the place out, which is, for the Strand Theater is a great thing because that's few and far between, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, way back in the day, it's a 1,400 seats theater. They would pack the house long time ago in the 80s. I can recall a few shows. But, it's gone through some tough stretches. Once in a while, there'll be a real popular event there or the state of the city or something like that. But this is, a youth concert, which is bringing in a lot of teenagers, young adults, of all kinds of backgrounds. Even though this is associated with Korea and there's certainly a big Asian fan base.
Yeah.
It's multicultural and a big and interested component here in Boston. So there's two shows coming up this month alone.
This show, Demon Hunters, I think is like crushing. I hear about it all over. I haven't seen it.
It's on at my house right now, probably. My daughter Madeline loves that show. I haven't tapped into it just yet, surprisingly. But this Hallyu Wave, as it's called, is – and the lead photo in this week's paper – is also of a K-pop dance troupe that performed at Fields Corner. Town Field had the Mid-Autumn Festival this past weekend, and there's a dance crew. It's all different kinds of young kids, teens performing, all inspired by K-pop. So that's what's going on at the Strand these days, which
very cool.
Is good news.
Love to see that pack in the house.
Yep.
What's coming up in the next week?
Well, beside the special report from Dorchester, England, we're going to be looking at blue bikes and bike lanes and bike use in the city.
Okay.
There's an effort right now to get more blue bike stations in Dorchester, Mattapan, other parts of the city, and kind of
I've seen
continue
some
the expansion.
More over the last 5 or so years, but there's definitely space.
There's
for more
public
of them.
meetings happening right now. There's one in Mattapan this month, and a virtual meeting. They're looking for input up where they should go and how far into the neighborhoods they should go.
Maybe near the Neponset Greenway.
The Greenway, that's a good idea. Well, I know there's at least one that I've used on the Greenway, and definitely
I've seen photos of you on
that. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And we'll be covering that. We'll also be continuing to cover city council races and more to come.
Election day hasn't come yet?
No, we have another one coming, Aaron. Remember the one in November?
Oh, right. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, the at-large race is very much still in the news, and we'll be talking a little bit more about that.
Okay.
and then awaiting your file right from Dorset, County Dorset, England.
We'll have to see. I'm going to try my best to connect with you guys while I'm out in terms of the news segment, but you may do it without me.
No pressure.
Week. Yeah.
We'll hold down the fort for you.
I'll be having my eye on the website either way.
Okay.
All right.
Have a great trip.
Thanks, Bill. Hey, Bill, before you leave, we've got a sneak guest in here today.
Whoa. It's our host.
Oh.
Good to see you. Thank you for letting us be in your space.
Yeah.
Well, snuck in the back door, so thanks for allowing me to do so.
Sure did. Didn't see you go by.
Bobby Boyd, friend of the pod,
Yes.
sponsor of the pod.
Thank
Great
you.
to have you back on. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, guys.
So what's new at the Record Co?
An amazing summer, had an amazing year. We had our Sunday in August to cap off our year, which is an amazing community barbecue that we had here at 55 Morrissey. Had about 200 people
There's a lot of
came
people
out.
here,
Yeah.
Nice.
It's an indoor-outdoor event. We had a outdoor event with a lot of vendors, and we had Stokes Barbecue do all the food.
Nice.
And then we had an indoor jam session, which was really cool. So people got to see and learn a little bit more about the building, which was really cool.
You don't get some like impromptu live music very often, so it was nice.
Yeah, it was really
good.
cool. I appreciated you guys showing up.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
great to be there. The weather was perfect.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful day.
That's always scary,
I
right?
know.
You have those outdoor events and you're like, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But it was great. It was great.
So we're moving into fundraising season,
hmm
and I hear you've got some things brewing.
Yeah, the Record Co., we've been around since 2010. So 15 years now we've been around.
Wow.
And it's still Boston's best kept secret in a lot of ways. So it takes a lot to run the organization. And at 960 Mass Ave, we, have 20 spaces, 4 recording studios, rehearsal spaces, videography spaces, photography spaces, podcasting spaces. So we have an amazing facility there, but we also have this facility that it takes a lot to maintain and operate. So
It's a big space.
yeah, so this
How
space.
many studios? 90?
So altogether, 108.
Wow.
Wow.
So many.
108 studios, and between 2 locations, you're serving close to 3,000 to 4,000 artists a month. So
Wow.
it's an amazing way that we give back to making sure that Boston's creative economy thrives, and make sure that artists don't have to go to Nashville, LA, New York, and other places. We're trying to make sure that artists can stay in Boston and thrive in Boston. So that's really important to the work that we're doing. But yes,
They can't be
Right.
cheap.
they can't be, but we're trying to keep it affordable.
Yeah.
We're trying to make sure that, the barrier of pricing doesn't get in the way of people's creative genius. And that's been a big part of our mission for a long time. So I think, like our space is at $960, $10 for a room for an hour, $15 for a room
That's
for an
crazy.
hour.
That's
And,
like low for small cities, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
No wonder you have so many artists.
Yeah.
3,000 a month. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And it's also incredible that it's still that, like you said, kind of a hidden gem, hidden
Yeah.
secret.
Yeah.
I feel like this past year, you've had a little bit more amplification. The pod
Sure.
helped for
Yeah.
sure. And
Yeah.
but what's the trick, do you think, to kind of turning that corner, putting that a little bit higher volume?
I think it's on, our community, I think, this climate that we're in right now, it's begging for community.
Yeah.
There's a lot of division. It seems like the old playbook constantly gets thrown out again and again and again in these times. So I think our community's begging for, deeper connection, that connective tissue that keeps us all together. So I think when we do that, people will be more attracted to the mission because there's new musicians being created every day.
Right.
There's and music is therapy for a lot of people. When you listen to a great song or when you have the opportunity to play an instrument, that's therapeutic for a lot of people, and it can kind of release some of the stress that you might experience in your day-to-day. So I think the better job that we have to do is, one, get out in front of folks and let them know about this amazing community that we have, and tell our story a little bit better. And, this pod obviously allows us to do that. But, just trying to change that narrative. We've been such a speakeasy. If you know, you know,
Yeah.
and if you don't, you don't kind of thing. So we're working. We got some new board members. We got some amazing people that just joined our team. So trying to work on that from a marketing perspective.
I'll tell you one community that is not unaware of this place, which is the musicians that we have in for the Tiny Dot concerts.
Cool.
Every time they're like, oh, I know that guy, and
Yeah.
then other musicians down the hall, and they often run into each other, and they're like, what's going on? So it is
Right.
definitely a nice community building for
No,
for
and
that crowd.
I was just talking to folks in the hall. Again, I think the more that we can learn about these amazing artists in the building, the better we can advocate for them.
Yeah.
A lot of them are doing amazing things, but we're all siloed even in this building. And I'm trying to get folks to understand that if we can talk about, the businesses that they have. I just was talking to a drummer at Mod in the hallway, and he's like, I'm teaching drum lessons. I'm like, well, how about if we work together and I can send some more business your way, because, we have this influx of folks that are interested in that. So I think the more that we can, inform our community that we want to build pathways and we want to build a deeper ecosystem, I think is really going to take this to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. So how can people help?
Always there's volunteering. There's, donating, which is always appreciated, but also spreading the word. You can go to our website at www.therecordco.org. And on our donation link, you can click on that link and you can support in any capacity that you can. Some folks donate, gear. We just got a baby grand piano down in the garage that was donated the other day, which was our friend Chris Duvall, which was really, really cool. But just spreading the word about what it would be like if Boston lost this creative soul. We don't want a bunch of labs and gray buildings around our city. We need creativity. We need artists in our city. So I think, just spreading the word or coming to a show. Some of these venues can't survive when people don't go to those venues. Yeah. So going to a show, showing up, showing support in any kind of way. But, for our organization, we survive on donations. So even if it's $1, if you throw $1 in the tent, it's greatly appreciated.
Yeah, gear is probably secondary. I think you really need money, and
Sure.
I know you're trying to raise 1.5 million.
Yes, we are.
So that any little bit helps there.
Yeah, and I know Bill's going to give us $1 million, so
Yeah.
So we just need 500,000.
A million words of advice, but hey, listen, you can count on us to help spread the word, help support, and donate too.
no, we greatly appreciate that. And just want to say thank you guys for doing this. It's been great since we started. How long has it been now?
Since April.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is season 2, episode 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the Tiny Dot concert, and it's really fueled by this building and your talent and the creatives who are based out of here. I'd say most of them, if not all, have a connection to the Record Co. And
definitely.
that says a lot.
Yeah, well, thank you guys for what you do, because I think this is, again, part of getting that word out. I greatly
Couldn't
appreciate
do it without the two of you. So
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Keep it up.
Dot Life is sponsored in part by the Dorchester Reporter, Dorchester's own community newspaper and online home for all things Dorchester at dotnews.com. The Reporter, owned and operated by the Forry family, has been laser focused on Dorchester and the surrounding neighborhoods of Boston since 1983. That longevity and experience shows in its award-winning coverage every week. The Reporter is our go-to source for authentic stories about the people, places, and events that matter most to our daily lives. We are proud to partner with The Reporter and Dot News. And you can support the important journalism provided by The Reporter. Just go to dotnews.com to subscribe today. It's the best deal in town and helps keep our local community journalism alive and well. Back to Dot Life. We are talking about the Neponset Greenway Trail today, and I'm excited to be joined by members of the Neponset Greenway Council. I'm joined by board members Maria Lyons.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, of course. And Paul Nutting.
Thank you for having us, Erin.
Absolutely. Glad you're both here. And Paul, thank you for the hibiscus. It's very pretty.
You're very welcome.
So tell listeners and viewers about the Neponset Greenway Council. What does it do? How many people are involved? Just tell us some of the details.
Well, I've been on the council for, 12 to 15 years. And I joined mainly because I love the Greenway, but I lived in Savin Hill, and it was so difficult to get to the Greenway from Savin Hill. So I joined primarily to ensure that the section that just opened this summer came to fruition.
What was the involvement of the council?
So the council itself has been the advocate for, well over 20, 25, 30 years to get the different sections of the Greenway completed, along with DCR, obviously, because they own it, and they have the planning expertise, as well as our elected officials who have actually provided most of the funding for us.
Okay. And where do you both live? Are you both Dorchester
We're
residents?
both Dorchester. He's Savin Hill, and I'm Port Norfolk.
Okay, great. And how long have you been involved?
I joined right after Paul because he made me join. At the time, I'm living in Port Norfolk, and we were the Civic Association in the neighborhood was fighting a Schaefer paper, which was storing hazardous waste in the neighborhood. So we were trying to get them shut down, and we did get them shut down, and then we were trying to get it made into the park that the DCR promised us, or the MDC at the time, and then it became DCR. So we were working on that part of the Greenway Trail.
Is that the one that's right on the water?
Yeah, the Joseph Finnegan Park.
Beautiful,
now, yeah. And he came to our Civic Association asking for help on the new extension part, which finally got done. So we sort of teamed up, and my husband and I, John Lyons, who's the president of the Port Norfolk Civic Association, we joined with Paul to the Greenway Council, and they were a huge help advocating for both of these things, and the whole trail, really.
Yeah.
At the time, it was run by Boston Natural Area Networks, and then they disbanded, and for a short period, it was run by, assisted by the trustees of reservation, but it didn't really fit their agenda, so we ended up being on our own.
Okay.
And it's all volunteers. We do get a little help from NEPRA, both as an organizational person and some small amounts of funding sometimes to help us buy things when we need them for events and whatnot. So they're a big help to us. But we are primarily just probably about 15, 20 main people who attend the meetings all the time, and then other people who come and go. So we all become really good friends. I mean, it isn't just, the Greenway Council isn't just about the trail.
Yeah.
It's about in protecting the parks and environment around the trail. But one of the most important things we do is we connect the people in the communities along the trail, all the way from Dorchester, Savin Hill, Port Norfolk, Cedar Grove, Pope's Hill, keep going, Lower Mills, Mattapan, Hyde Park, Reedville, all the way to the end of Truman Highway. And on the other side, you have Milton and Quincy as well. We have Quincy members now as well as Milton.
Okay.
So we connect all those communities, all those people, and we've met people. It's great that I've met Paul, and he's right here in Dorchester, but we've also met people from all those communities all the way up, and we're all great friends now, and no one has an agenda other than to make life better for everyone.
So let's take a step back for a moment from the council, and let's just look at the river itself. I believe this is at least it was, possibly still is, a super site, or a highly polluted river. Tell me more about the river itself and that area and the parks around it and the areas around it. I know there's marshes in parts of it. So just let's start with the kind of history of the river itself.
Well, I mean, if you go way back, the history of the river, this area was frequented by the Neponset River Native Americans, part of the Massachusetts tribe, and they lived along the Neponset River up to the Blue Hills in the winter, and then down in the summer to the marsh areas, and they fed off the food that you could get there. And they had farms, actually, too, where they grew vegetables, the beans and the corn and the wheat. They have it on their symbol.
Yeah.
But they were living here, and unfortunately, when the colonists come, they got along at the beginning, but that didn't last very long, and they eventually pushed them up into an encampment up at Ponkapog, which where the golf course is now. But so that's what happened. But right after they came in the 1630s, they started a mill on the river, and there used to be. I mean, if you look in old literature about Dorchester, they talked about how they could just put the baskets in the river and pull up all the fish.
The alewives.
Yeah,
right?
with no problem.
Yeah.
The nets, they just could and feed off them. So the early colonists really depended on the food.
And they were in, spoiler alert for next week's show, they were in some dire straits when they first came.
Oh,
There were
yeah,
some really hard
absolutely.
winters they were not
Absolutely.
prepared for.
So they needed the food that they were getting.
Yeah.
But they wanted the mill to start grinding the corn. It was a grist mill. Iceville Stoughton was the first one, I think, in
Yep,
1634.
that's exactly right.
And,
He
and
also had a monopoly on the alewives, so he could run the mill and sell the fish.
so they'd catch them at the bottom of the dam, but they couldn't get up to reproduce because they reproduce upriver. So right after the dam was built, the population goes way down.
Of course.
So
yeah. And this was right in Lower Mills, right?
that's the one right in Lower Mills.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then after that, there's more. There's gunpowder ones. There's and then the Baker chocolate one, and then there's ones that start producing hazardous waste from paper making and Polaroid type of photography chemicals and whatnot. And that released a huge amount of what they call PCBs into the water.
Okay.
And those mills were a little farther up where the EPA site is. And the soil in that area is one of the most contaminated areas in the entire country.
Wow.
And that's why they got the Superfund EPA fund. And cross our fingers, so far we still have the money.
Yeah.
So that should start soon, cleaning that up. And
Is it not started yet?
Well, they kind of started, but
Okay.
the whole process is still going on.
Yeah.
And they're trying to decide whether they should dig a certain amount down or more farther down and cover it up or get it all out now. That's
Okay.
still being discussed.
And what part of, is that further up into Mattapan?
Yeah, they call it the Three Islands in the middle.
Okay.
It's right after Mother Brook comes in, which is a whole nother story. Mother Brook comes in and joins up. So it's I think it's actually a little past Mattapan.
Okay.
Up towards Hyde Park.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where the kind of the worst part of the Superfund is, but the whole river is contaminated.
Because it's water going
Right.
by,
Right.
the PCBs can get picked up by the water. And right behind the dam at Baker's Chocolate, there's a huge supply of PCBs,
Yeah.
stuck there in the mud.
Yeah.
But we still have it all the way down to Port Norfolk.
Okay.
Because I know the Port Norfolk Yacht Club a couple of years ago, they wanted to dredge because it gets muddy and they need to get their boats in.
Yeah.
And they ended up having to pay an enormous amount of money because it was then considered hazardous waste because there's PCBs in it.
Oh my gosh.
Which is also true for the Neponset Wharf Marina that they want to put in. So it's going to cost, if it happens, it's going to cost them millions of dollars to clean that up because it's hazardous waste, even that far down at the mouth of the river.
Right. So there's not a lot of wildlife in the river, I would imagine.
Well, up to the dam, you get blues coming in.
Okay.
And the alewife coming in, but they can't go any farther than that.
Right.
They're stocking areas
Okay.
with fish, and then so they do come down.
Like in the marshy section?
No, they stock it way up in the ponds where they reproduce,
Okay.
so that you do get some fish up there,
Mm-hmm.
but it's really because the state is stocking the
Yeah.
rivers, not because they're coming up the river like natural.
I don't think you would eat those, though, would you? Would you eat
Well,
fish
that's
out
the
of it?
thing.
Yeah.
A lot of fishermen don't bother eating the fish; they just like to fish.
Yeah.
But you can't eat the fish that are coming down the river.
Okay.
But you can eat the fish in the lower part of the river that are coming in from the harbor,
Okay.
because those fish didn't spawn up in the river.
Right, okay.
The bluefish and things.
Yeah.
So we do have a lot of fishermen down in the Port Norfolk area
Okay.
during that season.
Yeah.
But other than, we have a lot of birds, an awful lot. We have piping plovers now in Dorchester.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
At across from Malibu and also at Tinny Inn, there are piping plovers. There's a
Yeah.
bald eagle at the Milton Landing.
Okay.
We have many, many egrets and great blue herrings
Mm-hmm.
in and around the marshes in the lower part. And then when you go up farther into the Blue Hills, you have deer and, hawks and things like
Yeah.
that. So, there is a lot of wildlife.
I've seen snakes on the trail.
That's probably, there's rattlesnakes up in the Blue Hills.
I haven't seen those on the trail.
But, and it's amazing. I grew up more in the lower end, going to Tinny Inn Beach and Malibu Beach, and those were sort of the only places that you were allowed to go to
Oh.
access the river.
Yeah.
Everything else was something, the drive-in and whatnot. But
Yeah. The drive-in, where was that? Was that
the-
in Pope John Paul?
Pope John Paul was
Yeah,
the drive-in,
okay.
and then the dump.
Lovely. What a nice evening.
But then farther up in the river, where they finally put from Central Ave to Mattapan, they finally got that piece done, and there's a beautiful bridge there, the Harvest Bridge.
Yeah.
I had never been up in that area, and if you go there and you stand on that bridge, you'd swear you were out in the middle of mid Massachusetts in the
Yeah.
Berkshires or something.
Really?
It's just beautiful.
So let's talk about that. So you've got this river that is beautiful, but also has some toxic problems. What made, originally folks decide to build a trail along it?
So there used to be railways along
Yeah.
the river. And in 2002, at the time, Speaker Finneran put some money in to have the trail section from Pope John Paul Park to Central Ave completed. And then in...
Was that along the old rail trail?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Because there's still the trolley there. So that's
Right.
not in...
It's not the same trail.
Got it.
They
No,
crisscross.
but if you see
Okay.
they're
Okay.
and they are side by side in certain sections, like from Butler Ave up,
Yep.
further up. And then in 2017, as one of his last accomplishments, Governor Patrick put the funding in for the Central Ave to Mattapan section that
Okay.
Maria just referenced, with the two new bridges. The Harvest River Bridge, which is the purple one that's lit that crosses over from Milton to Mattapan. And then as you head further inland, we call it the Canopy Walk Bridge that takes you over the tracks at Mattapan Station.
Okay.
And we call it the Canopy Walk because it essentially brings you up into the tree canopy.
Oh, that's cool. I don't think I've been on that one.
Yeah,
That's very
that's really interesting, and it's sort of it's almost to the end of sort of the new section.
Okay.
I mean, we're talking about Dorchester, so it does go further, up Truman Highway and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then thanks to some ARPA money and Rep Hunt and Senator Collins, we got the Morrissey to Tinian Beach section completed.
And that was when?
That was 2025. This just opened, sort of.
It goes near the gas tank? And,
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We did have some issues with the gas company. I remember Rep Hunt's brother. He was Mayor Menito's environment chief, and one of the things that he asked for the gas company to do when they wanted to put in their solar array was to provide this, not so much right-of-way because it's not on their property, it's on Mass Highway property, but at least allow the proximity of the trail because, we used to have a boat ramp at the end of Victory Road that after 9/11 they closed the boat ramp because they, they were afraid of anyone coming anywhere near the gas tank.
Yeah.
So anyway, we've kind of had an embarrassment of riches over the past 20, 25 years to get that trail completed. And, like Maria said, it's brought a lot of different communities together, a lot of different people together. And once the decrepit part of Morrissey Boulevard is completed, I mean, it will be sort of the harbor to the hills.
Yeah.
All the way from, Castle
Island,
Island all the way up to the Blue Hills. And
What's the time frame on that?
well, in my mind, I don't think we should wait for Morrissey Boulevard to be completed because since I've lived there well over 30 years, there's been different iterations of reconstructing Morrissey Boulevard, and I think at this point, the sidewalk, if you will, or what would be the trail, is pretty decrepit.
Yeah. This is over the bridge there on Morrissey?
This would be along sort of north of the bridge towards UMass Boston.
Okay.
Once you cross the bridge, you're on the new trail section heading inland or
The bridge
upstream.
itself, though, is also pretty crumbly.
The bridge itself, and there's control arm gates that come down when the bridge opens, and some people are afraid to sort of squeeze by them on their bike. I've done it so many times that I'm used to it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people will walk their bikes through there. But then, heading towards UMass, that section, it's just, all crumbling. It's sand. There's tree roots growing up through the pavement. It's just, it can be dangerous. And it's very narrow, too. And now we're seeing so
Very
much more
close to
use.
traffic. Yeah, right.
We're seeing so much more use with walkers, cyclists, people with strollers and whatnot, that it needs to be widened and the surface needs to be smooth.
Now, that sidewalk is right adjacent to the lane of traffic, right? There's no green barrier in between?
There's, I don't know, like a foot or two
Okay.
of, I wouldn't call it green, it's sand, sand,
Yeah.
dirt, and I guess a little bit of green.
Yeah, okay. So it's pretty hazardous. So we definitely want to connect those two pieces. What can people do to help encourage that? Who should they be lobbying?
Well, I think that they should be lobbying the Morrissey Boulevard Commission, which just, extended its life cycle, as well as the elected officials. A lot of people get confused by city properties versus state properties. This is all state.
Yeah.
Morrissey Boulevard is, owned by the DCR, helped managed by the Mass Highway Department.
Yeah.
So, until you get to UMass Boston, which is obviously a state institution, which a couple of years ago they repaved that whole section, which I was really happy to see. That whole area is a state project. So
Okay.
we need to have people put pressure on, state officials. In the current iteration of the Morrissey Boulevard plan, there's supposed to be like a berm, if you will, to try to protect Morrissey Boulevard from any overwash. And on top of that berm would be the trail. But as I mentioned, we've been waiting,
Decades.
35, many decades, to have Morrissey redone. And I don't think that we should have to wait for Morrissey to be redone to have that sidewalk/trail brought up to modern standards.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Talk about the artwork. There's a lot of artwork all down through, between, Central Ave and then all the way up through.
Right.
And then the new section also has artwork.
Yeah, so back when we were under the auspices of Boston Natural Areas Network, under Valerie Burns, we started to have summer trail groups of youth that would come and paint the murals. Over time, some of the murals have faded. Some of the ones that are built on wood have, degraded.
Weathered, yeah. What were we talking about timing-wise? This was the 2000s?
So this was in the 2000s.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So these murals are 25 years old.
yeah, some of them are. I mean,
Yeah.
some of them are relatively new.
Yeah.
But for instance, the ones that are along the rail bed near Baker Chocolate, those are kind of beyond repair.
Yeah. They're beautiful, but
they're
they are
beautiful.
definitely aging.
Yeah. But as luck would have it, we had our meeting back in May, and we were talking about how can we restore some of these murals. And I happened to be at the Dorch Fest and ran into an old friend, Carl Pastori, who used to be the regional manager for DCR and was always our go-to person for problems along the trails or the beaches or whatnot. And he said, "Hey, Paul, I'm part of this group called the Blue Hill Bohemians, and we were thinking about doing some repair of the murals along the trail." I said, "Wow, if this isn't serendipity, I don't know what is." Like a week or two after our meeting. And then we got Vincent Crotty involved, who's a famous Irish-born Dorchester artist.
Okay.
So a couple of weekends over the summer, we had groups of people come and do some restoration. And actually this weekend, we have people going out to do some restoration.
Of the existing murals?
Of the existing murals,
Okay.
yes.
Any new artwork going up?
Well, at the new, what's the name of that condo building on Morrissey?
Oh, the Yeah.
Oh, the imprint.
Imprint.
Yes.
Yes.
They put up a board with beautiful birds on it.
Yeah. That was very pretty.
But Vincent and
Blue Hill Bohemians.
the Blue Hip, they want to do a new one as well.
Okay.
And Vincent wants to do a marsh natural scene, and the Bohemians want to do a trolley.
Okay.
So we're looking at the tunnel near.
Like Cedar Grove Cemetery, like that?
Yeah, that area there,
Okay.
and one side would have the trolley, and the other side would have the marsh.
Okay.
So they're all for. They want to continue adding more murals to it.
Yeah.
There are some restrictions. They have to be approved by the DCR, and they're supposed to be more natural type things and
Yeah.
whatnot. I think they'll let the trolley slide.
I
though,
hope
'cause
so.
that
It's
kinda-
pretty relevant.
He's been in there so long.
Yeah.
But we've been having a great time. And this is a joint project between Vincent and the Bohemians, the DCR. NEPRA is doing a lot of work with us on this as well.
Okay.
So we're having a great time. And we can always use more help.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, though. I mean, it's more like paint by number. We're going over what
Like the stencil
Vincent
or
will mix
something?
up the
Yeah.
paint so it matches the color and tell us what to do, and we kind of do the main color, and then he'll make it look really nice.
I was gonna say, I
Along
don't know
with
if
the
you want me helping with
Bohemians.
the mural, but if it's that easy, maybe.
Yeah, so we could always use more help, and I
Yeah.
think there's a sign up on the NEPRA site, the
Okay.
Neponset Watershed site for that.
Do you do that into the winter?
Well, we can only do it for another month or so.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And then we'll start again.
What other family activities? So how do people use this trail? I know that first of all, there's just the basic walking.
Well, now that
Jogging.
most of the trail has been completed,
Yeah.
even though we're still advocating for up to the Trailside Museum and to fix along Morrissey, we're trying to do more programming.
Okay.
And we do environmental stuff as well. There's all sorts of committees around the Neponset River, and the Neponset Greenway has people on many of them about the estuary or about the EPA, the hazardous waste, and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So we're involved in most of those committees that are in and around, and some of them are city, some of them are state, along with NEPRA
Okay.
as well. So, but we're trying to do more programming, and we have had walks and bike rides that are sponsored by us.
Okay.
But we also help out on other bike rides, like Mattapan on Wheels came all the way from Mattapan to Tinian, and we provided stops for water and cookies and stuff along the way. So, we try to be good hosts as well.
Yeah.
But we have a couple of really nice family events, one coming up, so can we push it? Is this?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
We have our biggest family event. It's called the Pumpkin Parade.
Okay.
We used to float pumpkins down the little creek at Pope John Paul Park, but the DCI got a little upset after that because it was a lot of work, and it was a lot of work getting the pumpkins out.
Do pumpkins float?
We
Pumpkins
put
float?
them on floats. We had
Oh,
floats,
okay.
yeah. So anyway, now we made that into a pumpkin parade.
Okay.
And it's the same location in Pope John Paul Park near the Haller Street entrance, and it's mostly geared for little ones.
Yeah.
But we have a great time, Paul and I and the rest of them.
Costumes?
They come in costumes.
Okay. Do you?
Some of them do. I usually just wear a little funny headband or something.
I wear orange.
Yeah, we wear orange. We try to look like pumpkins. But the kids come in costume, and some of them bring jack-o'-lanterns, and we put a light in it, and we put it on the bridge, and we've got the bridge all lit up with orange lights. And then a pathway set out through the park where along the way they'll pick up little trinkets like spider rings and stickers, and then candy, of course.
Yeah.
And the DCR supplies the DJ, so he plays all sorts of Halloween music,
Nice.
and it's just great.
Is this at night?
It starts at 5:30, so the sun does set.
Okay.
By the time we're done, it's dark, but they do put up a few emergency lights for us, so we're not completely in the dark. But the kids love it that they're in the dark,
Yeah.
But it's safe because
Yeah.
we have the emergency lightings and the DCR watching
And
over
what
us.
day is this?
This will be Thursday, October 23rd. It starts at 5:30.
Okay.
And there's lots of flyers going out on social media on that as well, so people can see that. Or they can just look, it's on NEPRA's website as well, because they help us with that too. They help us with everything pretty much.
Now, do people need to sign up, or is it just?
No, it's all free.
come?
You just
Okay.
come, and last few years we've had over 500 people. So
Wow.
and it's great just seeing them coming over the hills when it's
Yeah.
time, and all in costume, and we have lots of fun.
That's really cool. Yeah. What else happens on the trail?
So can I just interrupt Maria
Sure.
for 1 second? She keeps saying NEPRA. It's the Neponset River Watershed Association. And as she mentioned, we were on our own for a while. We had no sort of official, governing group.
Yeah.
But then Neponset River Watershed Association picked us up probably about 5 or 6 years ago. And we have some really good staff there who help us, Andres Ripley and then Suzanne Hinton. And this summer we had an awesome intern. He's originally from Dorchester, but he moved out to the Foxborough area. But his name is Neil Cahill. But he was really instrumental in getting these murals refurbished.
Awesome. That's great. So you are really a grassroots org that then kind of became officialized.
Yeah. I mean, under the
Yeah.
auspices of a couple different groups. But we're really sort of self-run, and we recently became a 501c3, so hopefully we can raise some money for these different events.
Yeah. So tell me a little more about events that you hold and also ways that people on their own use the trail.
Well, we also have sort of educational environmental events too. We hold a King Tide event, usually in the spring when the spring King Tide is occurring, and people come and we teach them about what is happening, why is there a king tide, why is it getting worse, and Teeny Ann floods really badly, and so
Morrissey floods really
you
badly.
can see, I mean, while we're standing there having the conversation, the tide comes in, and
Wow.
they see it actually coming in. And
Is king tide is when it's high tide and a full moon? Is that right?
it's always high tide when there's the highest high tides when there's a full moon.
Okay.
But in the spring and the fall, the Earth is closer to the moon, so
Okay.
it's even bigger
Bit high, okay.
tide, and that's the king tide.
Okay.
But you get Teeny Ann gets flooded every full moon now and
Yeah.
every storm, no matter what. And
So let's talk about climate change a little bit because sea level rise is already evident here. What are the protections or the plans to help the Greenway Trail survive?
well, there's no specific plan for the Greenway Trail.
Okay.
But the different areas have plans. Like there's
Okay.
a Morrissey plan. There's a Teeny Ann Beach plan.
And these are from the
The
state.
Climate Ready Dorchester.
Okay.
From Climate Ready Boston. They have some plans of things that we're going to do, but they also have the Army Corps of Engineers coming in now, and they want to change those a little bit, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But that's the Port Norfolk Civic Association is part of a pilot program for Port Norfolk, all about the flooding, because we're one of the worst neighborhoods, which includes Teeny Ann Beach
Yeah.
and the trail.
Okay.
So I took pictures of the trail today. It was flooded today at Teeny Ann.
Because it rained
Yeah.
so much? Yeah.
Well, no, because it was the
Oh,
king.
and
It was both.
And the rain.
It was both.
Triple whammy. Yeah.
But it also floods over near the cemetery, that end there.
Yeah.
Other than that, it doesn't flood because you're going to hit the falls,
Right. Okay.
but it does flood during big rainstorms.
Yeah.
So even above the falls was flooding in areas just from the rainfall.
I've
coming
seen it
down.
quite full there. Yeah.
There's two storms in 2018. We had a tremendous amount of flooding. The water was coming down the river and coming in from the ocean at the same
Yeah.
time. So it was hitting the bottom of the Granite Ave Bridge, the water.
Okay.
That's how high it was.
Yeah.
And we were completely cut off from the rest of the city, Port Norfolk neighborhood. We couldn't get in or out.
Wow.
So
That must have flooded all of that park area too.
the
and-
entire,
yeah.
not just the parking lot of Teeny Ann, all the way to the expressway embankment.
Wow.
So Morrissey Boulevard and that whole neighborhood
Just
close
wiped
to
out,
it
yeah.
was all underwater.
Wow.
Neponset Circle was underwater. So
Yeah.
we couldn't get in or out.
Yeah.
So nobody in Port Norfolk does not believe in climate change.
Yeah, sadly. What about safety on the trail? Is it lit? Is there patrols at all? Have you had any incidents?
Well, technically, it's supposed to be a dawn to dusk
Okay.
use. However, we just had our meeting last week, and I rode my bike back from the Loop building in Mattapan back to Savin Hill. And the only lights are at the Harvest River Bridge.
Okay.
Otherwise, it was dark. Luckily, I have a headlight on
It's
my bike.
quite dark, especially going around like Pope John Paul Park. There's not a lot of light in that area. It must have been a little spooky.
Yeah, it wasn't that spooky. I was just afraid a deer would run out in front of me or something.
Yeah, I've also seen coyotes in Pope John Paul Park, so
Yeah,
watch out for that.
Most of them are more afraid of us
Yeah,
than we are of them,
yeah.
so I'm not really concerned about
Yeah.
that. But there have been a couple of incidents over the years, but I don't know that they were that the trail was sort of the cause of it. I think there were, just like a lot of sort of known unknown violence that happens in the city.
Yeah.
It just happens where it happens. It's not.
It wasn't because the situation lent itself to a violent situation. It was
Right.
people happened to be there when they committed the violence. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. What is forbidden on the trail? Can I take an e-scooter?
I think you can take an e-scooter. That's one of the things we've been talking about because I ride an e-bike now.
Okay.
I'm retired. I'm old. I have graduated to an e-bike for most of my errands. As a matter of fact, I rode it here tonight.
Okay.
It's just much more convenient than getting in the car and driving everywhere. One of the things that we like to impress upon people is that this isn't sort of the Lance Armstrong training ground, for speeding cyclists.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do, go out on the streets. And one of my biggest issues is keep to the right. If everyone would just keep to the right, you wouldn't have problems or potential problems with, collisions and whatnot.
Also, communication. I often will have someone whiz by me on my left, and I had no idea they were there. So just a little bell.
I mean, that's something that I do all the time is on your left, but it's not helpful when people have earbuds in or, God forbid, like these type of headphones because they can't hear
Nothing.
anything around them, and you're practically upon them before you shout into their ear on your left, So if people would just keep to the right and, try to keep dogs on a short leash as opposed to just wandering around. Another thing, if you're taking a phone call and you want to take some pictures, move off the side of the trail. Don't stand in the middle of the trail because it is kind of a through way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people have to realize it's not just a bike trail or just a walking trail. It is a shared bike walking trail.
Right.
So both the walkers and the bike people have to be more considerate and watch out for each other.
Yeah.
But I've been scared by a few bikes too. And like you said, if they would just go zing zing,
Right.
or, on your,
Right.
like you say, on your left, just so you know that they're coming.
Yeah.
Because it can be a little scary.
Yeah.
And there is a speed limit. Is it 30 or 15? 15?
No, we'd like to keep it at 15.
It's 15.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there is a
or
speed
less.
limit, even if you have an electronic bike,
Yeah.
that you're not supposed to go faster.
Okay.
Especially if you're in one of the park areas.
Yeah.
I mean, they go flying in Finnegan Park, and I don't know why. I think, like you said, they're using it as a training session and trying to walk through the park, and you got to watch out for them. But not that they're not welcome on the trail. It's it's a bike trail too,
Right.
but just be a little bit more
mindful.
courteous. And
Yeah.
we're trying to come up with ideas to help with that. We just got the DCR to finish up a bunch of signs that were just wayfaring signs, telling distances from Tinian to Mattapan, things like that.
Yep.
And they put those up, and then now we're working on ones about more safety.
Okay.
And they did put up some where it had like all the rules on one thing, and they're great, but
Not if you're whizzing by.
not if you're whizzing by, So we need some
Yeah.
that just say, slow down, you're entering
Right.
a park area, that type of thing.
Yeah. Some
so-
of those old the shaving signs where you get like a word per sign and you.
Yeah, we're thinking of putting them right on the road, the pathway with
Yeah.
stencils, slow down park area,
Yeah.
slow down pedestrians up ahead, so that they know. I mean, then if they're in a section where there obviously is nobody and they want to go fast,
for it.
fine. But
Yeah.
when they get to the park areas, they need to slow down.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Talk about landscaping and sound barriers. So especially in that new section, we actually took a walk down there, I don't know, September, August, and there were some new trees. I'm a little skeptical they're going to survive because it was like 87 degrees that day, and I think it had been for weeks and very little rain. But if they do, that's great. Is there any other landscaping kind of in the plan? And how much funding do you have for things like
Yeah,
that?
no, there's no plans to put any soundproofing there. We could
It is
use it
quite
on
loud.
both sides of the expressway there
Yeah.
because it's very loud over at Teeny Inn as well.
Yeah, I would imagine.
It would be nice. I never even thought of that, and I saw you had written that, and I'm like, why haven't we ever thought of that?
Then you could do more murals, too.
Because I do see them in other areas. The state has put up soundproofing.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something we'll work on.
Yeah.
Right now we're also we work on stopping the billboards from being put up and also being changed into digital billboards along the trail.
Okay.
So that's another visual thing.
Yeah.
Some people might not like the sound things because they might not like how it
They're
looks.
not, I mean,
know.
again, you could mural them,
Yeah.
but it is quite loud.
Yeah, it is very
yeah.
loud.
I'm a de facto expert on noise barriers because I've got one next to my house.
Yeah.
They'll only build them to protect residences. They're not going to build them
okay.
to protect trails. It's just for residents.
I would imagine they're not cheap to erect.
No, I mean the one next to my house and several of my neighbors' house. I think it's like a half a mile long, and it costs
Yeah.
$3 million.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And that strip of trail by the, what we just called that building, imprint building, is quite long. It's maybe not half a mile, but
I mean,
yeah.
I would like to see more vegetation there.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, there wasn't a lot of care or concern with the new plantings.
Yeah.
But hopefully there'll be more coming, and unless the contractor has officially signed off to DCR, then they've got to come back next year and replace
Oh, good.
whatever has died.
That's good.
One of my concerns about that section in particular, as well as the one next to the gas tank, is what happens in the winter when the snowplows are going by.
Yeah.
Because if you ever seen them at high speed along the highway, they pretty much project the snow off to the sides. And
Yeah.
is it going to, land on the trail? There's also sand and salt within that snow that's going to
Right.
get blown, onto the trail. So hopefully there's some thought given to that by DCR as far as plowing the trail.
Is there
when it's
snow
done.
removal of the actual trail?
There
from
is.
DCR? Okay,
Yep.
that's good. So
Yep.
it's a 4-season trail. You can use it
Yes.
at any time. Okay.
Yes.
How does the salt impact, the native plants, the native vegetation, and also piggybacking on that, invasives?
Well, the road salt, you mean, or
Yeah.
the salt water?
The road salt, or this is going through some areas that have, not the nicest.
Well,
Like-
some of it is going in. They built that huge berm that the Southeast Expressway is on through Dorchester. That used to be all marsh and beach,
Oh wow!
and it was
Okay.
all filled in originally for the Old Colony Railroad, and then even more of it was taken for the Route
Expressway,
93.
yeah.
The water used to go all the way in through Malibu and then way up almost to Glover's Corner in Dorchester.
Okay.
So that has all been filled in. So, sure, it's artificial growth along that berm
Yeah.
anyways. But I do think the road salt definitely does affect what grows on that berm.
Yeah.
And most of it is just grass and a couple of shrubbery, not too many big trees.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they decided which trees to build in the new part, but hopefully they're salt resistant. There are some salt resistant trees. We did just the DCR is planting more trees in their parks, and they're going to be planting some new ones at Pope John Paul Park, and then we just got them to add 10 more to Finnegan Park, which we've always wanted more trees, through the Speak for the Trees organization.
Okay.
So, maybe if we need more trees there, we can figure out something with those organizations. If the DCI doesn't have the money, DCI has a lot of good ideas and things that they would like to do, but they don't have the money.
Right.
So maybe we could go through these other organizations like Trees for Boston or Speaks for the Trees to get even more trees in those areas, which
Yeah.
would be nice.
You had mentioned, Maria, invasives. What are you seeing? One of the things I think I've noticed is the cattail-like invasive in the marsh that isn't actually a cattail. It's
The
like
Phragmites.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that in the main part of the marsh, and I don't know how they'd ever get rid of that.
No, I don't either.
There's a little bit starting to grow at Finnegan Park, and while we were talking about the tree planting,
Yeah.
and we've done tree planting all along, all the different parks all along the Greenway. The council has helped to do that.
Yeah.
But what was I going to say? She started looking at the park, and I said, the park, it's overgrown with this invasive species, and I don't even know what it was. And she said, I was there the other day. It's something called mugwort.
Oh, I've heard of that.
It even sounds terrible. It sounds like something from Harry Potter, but it's very high, and it's really ugly. It doesn't have any pretty flowers. It doesn't have any fruit for the animals. It serves no purpose at all other than taking the space of native species.
Yeah.
And it's almost completely overgrown the whole park. So
wow.
she says we definitely need to do something about it. It's too much for us to take. Like, we've done small areas where we've gone and actually pulled invasive species and identified where they are for when the DCR needs to do it. But Finnegan Park is just so much we can't do it ourselves.
Maria, who is she that you're referring to?
Oh, it's the DCR shade planner. I don't remember their names, but they have a wildlife person. They have a lot of it was Ruth Helfeld. That's one name. She's the park planner.
Okay.
So she's in charge. Oh, she's overall in charge of the whole thing. And so they're agreeing that we need to do something about the invasive species, and they are going to allow Speak for the Trees to plant 10 more trees there.
Good.
So little by little, it's always little by little with the DC. How
Yeah.
long did it take to get the section that you wanted?
Well, I mean, it's, like I said, little by little, embarrassment of riches, just happy that I'm pretty sure it was ARPA money that came through for it.
Yeah.
But it just makes it so much safer for people coming from, Savin Hill or, other points, north, South Boston, other neighborhoods in Dorchester, the Polish Triangle and whatnot, to get onto the trail.
Yeah. What if you were to ask folks to come support the work that you do? What do you need? I mean, do you need funding? Do you need volunteers? Do you need all of that?
We end up kind of being the workforce a lot of, so sometimes it's just good hands, and a lot of us are getting elderly too, so we're looking for younger people to help with the murals, to help with the invasive species, to help plant trees, things of that sort.
Yeah.
We could always use money, because if we had money ourselves, we could do more of our own programming instead of relying on other donations. We have a lot of donations for the pumpkin parade from all the local politicians, Senator Collins, Representative Hunt, City Councilor Finnegan, City Councilor Lejeune, Pepin. They've all been donating money for the pumpkin fund, but we have to do that every year.
Right.
And it's great that they do, because the price of candy has gone way up.
Sorry to correct you again, Maria, but I think it's Councilor Fitzgerald, not
What
Finnegan.
did I say?
You said
I
Finnegan.
said Finnegan. I was thinking of Finnegan Park. I'm sorry. Thank you. Fitzgerald. Yeah. So they're all very generous and have donated year after year. But that's hard to do every year, to rely on that. And like we said before, the Neponset Watershed gives us some money. They help buy a lot of the things for the pumpkin parade and the bunny hop and things of that sort. But we're thinking about maybe we should start applying for different grants and things for larger sums.
You just got your 501c3.
Just a few years ago.
So this would be tax deductible donations.
Right. Yeah. So we're just working on that idea that we should start looking into applying for some larger grants, and then we wouldn't have to worry so much, and maybe do some more really good things with it.
Yeah.
So, Erin, I think one of the themes that you've probably heard before from different organizations or people that you've interviewed on the podcast is we need new blood to come in. You go to the Civic Association meetings, and for the most part, it's the people who have lived here all their life. The same thing with the Neponset River Greenway Council is that, most of the people are 40 or better.
Yeah.
And it would be nice to have some younger people involved and to get their point of view too, because, we see it from our point of view, but there are other, there are different points of view, as far as what programming might happen or, how else the trail might be used.
Yeah.
So we meet the first Wednesday of every month. We have rotating locations. But if you follow us on Instagram or Facebook, it's Greenway Council.
Okay.
And hopefully, we have had a few new members the past couple of meetings.
Yeah.
Which, and they bring new ideas, and they bring people with them. Like one fellow works at Harvard, and he's going to bring some people out to help with the cleanup or help with the mural restoration. So,
yeah, I mean, you've got something kind of for everyone. People who are more into the ecology, more into the art, the community, the events. So I think there's a lot of opportunities.
It isn't just bike people or walkers.
Right.
It's people. There are some people who don't do much of either of those, but they care about the environment, and or they just like to help with the programs with the kids. It's lots of fun,
right?
And, so we want to do more things for everyone. We also work on something I wanted to mention when you had mentioned about pollution before. That Tinian Beach is polluted. You cannot swim there, because of sewage from the Boston Water and Sewer System.
And potentially bodies, we heard in the last segment. That was...
Well, yeah, they dug up a few bodies there. We'll skip over that. But I think I actually saw them bury them.
That was news to me when Bill said that.
Honest to God, I think I actually saw them bury them. We were coming home late one evening, and there was a backhoe right in the spot where they later found the bodies. And it was like 2 a.m. We were out really late.
Who's out doing
and
construction?
We were like, what is going on there? It was just like one of those little mini backhoes. And later on, that's where they dug up the bodies. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I think we saw them bury them. Should have called the police, but we didn't. We thought it was the gas company or something. I don't know. But anyway, it's polluted, and I hope, I've seen news that they're going to start doing a study to try to fix it.
Okay.
So I hope that happens. But can you imagine if you could swim at Tinian Beach? It's connected to the trail, going all the way to Castle Island and all the way to Mattapan and Hyde Park. Kids can come all the way in their bikes with their families and go to the beach right there.
Right.
We need a nice bathhouse would be nice. It had a bathhouse. It burnt down. They never replaced it. But clean water, I mean, that would just be such a treat for the whole area, not just Dorchester, to be able to swim there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, let's end on a note about food. So when you're out in Dorchester, where are you going to get your dinner?
You can go first.
It's so difficult because there are so many great restaurants in Dorchester.
Yeah.
But living in Savin Hill, can I mention 2 of my new favorites?
Yes, please do.
One is the Nightly, which is above the Daily Restaurant. Mm-hmm. They're running the test kitchen right now where they're trying to formulate what the menu's going to be. So that's on the 3rd floor. Awesome views.
I was able to check that out. Very nice.
Yeah. I mean, did you notice how the First Parish Church steeple is now lit? I mean, it's just such a beautiful view. But they're fitting out the 2nd floor. There's going to be a fireplace in there for people who, want to come and warm up on a cold night.
Yeah.
And then my second favorite new restaurant is the Dot Block Diner.
Oh, I've not been over there yet.
Yeah, the menu is fantastic. The ambiance is really nice, and the food is awesome.
Very good. I will check that out. Maria, how about you?
Well, a lot of the times we're just doing takeout, and I'm old school, so I'm talking, China Sky, Papagenos, Windy City. I just go old school. But if we go out to a restaurant in Dorchester, it's usually Venezia.
Okay.
And
that's in Port Norfolk.
In Port Norfolk, and Venezia is really good to us. They give us a buffet of food for our Christmas party every year, the Port Norfolk Civic Association, and we invite the Greenway people to that. You've been to that a few times, right?
Yeah.
When Santa comes and we light our tree.
Nice.
So they're very good to us, but it's just the food is great. And I really like the service too. I like being treated nicely. You get treated nicely everywhere in Dorchester, but Venezia is just a little bit more elegant in the way they serve you, and it's just a nice evening out. Yeah. And we're friends with Ralph Bruno, who owns the restaurant, and we were talking when he first came into the neighborhood, and I says, I love your meatballs and your sauce. It tastes just like my grandmother's. And he starts, well, where was your grandmother from? He says, Avellino. He says, that's where he was from.
Oh, that's funny.
So they're from the same small town outside Naples. That's why the sauce and the meatballs taste the same. So I have to go to Venezia and get my sauce and meatballs.
We'll definitely check that out. Thanks for the recommendations. Thank you both for coming. This was an awesome conversation. I think you've also opened up some ideas for some other river and associated organizations that we may want to have on the podcast. So DCR is on the radar too. But appreciate the work that you've done. It takes folks like you to make things like this happen and get it to the point where it can be a 501c3 and an organization that people can really get excited about. But you've got to do the groundwork, and you all have done that. So thank you for your efforts. Really appreciate it.
Great.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, and I wanted to thank also Bill Forry and the Dorchester Reporter, because they always advertise our events and everything for us. And they usually do a really good picture spread after the pumpkin parade. So we'll be looking for that in a couple of weeks. And
they're a neighborhood gem.
So
for sure.
they're good to us. They support us. Yeah.
Same. Dot Life is supported by The Record Company, Boston's leading provider of accessible music creation spaces. The Record Company is addressing the critical shortage of affordable creative space in our city, serving over 4,000 monthly users across 131 communities. They've preserved 47,000 square feet of professional studio and rehearsal space at rates 60 to 90% below market value, ensuring Boston's musicians have a place to create, regardless of economic means. But they're more than just affordable space. They're building career pathways through partnerships with Bunker Hill Community College, offering professional certification programs that lead to sustainable music careers. This vital work is at risk. As creative spaces continue to disappear across Boston, the Record Company needs community support to maintain these essential resources. Their Amplify Boston campaign directly funds space preservation and career development programs. Visit therecordcompany.org today. That's therecordco.org to donate, become a monthly supporter, or learn about partnership opportunities. Every contribution helps keep Boston's music ecosystem thriving. The Record Company, creating accessible pathways to music creation since 2010. Welcome back to the Dot Life podcast. For this week's Tiny Dot concert, I'm joined by Ray Liriano. Hi, Ray.
Hey, Erin. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's so nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
And you are the front man for the Ray Liriano Experience.
That's right.
You guys have been together for how long?
Wow, we've been together for almost 7-8 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've been a musician predating the experience.
Yes.
How long have you been playing music?
I've been playing music for over 20 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell me about yourself a little bit. You're from Santo Domingo, is that right?
I'm from Santo Domingo,
Okay.
to be more specific, from Alma Rosa, which is on the east part of Santo Domingo.
Okay.
And I grew up playing basketball, playing baseball, Catholic school, a great community with friends. My mother used to work within the music industry, and I used to just see like Belkis Concepcion, Sergio Vargas, Wilfrido Vargas, and all of those great artists from Dominican Republic just do their thing, and that I
You
think
got
that,
hooked?
Yeah, I kind of like lighted the spark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What brought you to Dorchester or to Boston?
To Boston, well, I basically came here looking to study to grow on the arts.
Okay.
I wanted to go to Mass Art, which I
Nice.
couldn't fulfill.
Okay.
But I gotta tell you, my daughter now is on Mass Art.
Oh, congrats.
So sometimes, things just
Things
skip a
work their way out.
generation.
So what year did you move to Boston?
2001.
And that was a direct from Santo Domingo to
From
Boston?
Santo Domingo to Boston.
And you've been here ever since?
I've been here, and I've been a little bit everywhere. After coming to Boston, I moved to Orlando briefly for 7 years,
Oof.
that's where I started like fully on doing music.
Okay.
Making music.
Did you like Orlando?
I did. It was
Okay.
everything is so spread out. Like if you you can do a trip. Like I'm going to the grocery store. Like if you go in Dorchester, like I'm just going to the grocery store. Or I'm going to Yellow
20
Door.
minutes
Taqueria.
later.
Yeah, 20 minutes later.
Yeah.
In Orlando, it's just like it takes you an hour.
Yeah.
A trip you have to plan it because you have to get out of the house, grab your car keys, drive
Traffic.
wherever you're going. Traffic.
Yep.
And there's only one way back.
Yeah. I'm not a big Orlando fan.
No.
No, I don't like that whole driving everywhere culture. It's just
Yeah.
not my scene. But
Well, maybe one day we'll get to be in Orlando, and I'll show you some places that you're gonna be like, okay, this
Okay.
place is not so bad.
Change my mind.
Yeah.
I'm open.
Yeah.
So you did Orlando for a bit. You got more into music there.
Yeah.
What was the catalyst there?
The catalyst was a southern rock culture down there, jazz, a lot of jazz, Junkie Rush, Afterglow Radio, Airplane Automobile, Social Goals, bands, the modern bands that were friends, and I just absorbed it all. And I don't know, I was in the middle of everything because those bands kind of define a lot of people that I know from Florida. Like they really like those bands.
So you were going out to watch them and then also like meeting these folks and like becoming in that circle? Nice.
Yes.
Okay. So, but you'd already been playing, right?
Yes.
Guitar.
Yes, I was playing guitar, writing my songs, and developing a project back then with a friend, Gustavo Mendez, called Versus Nova, which was a rock project in Spanish.
And, nice. Yeah. Okay. And so had you played guitar as a kid?
Well, I started playing guitar when I was 16 years old.
Okay.
And it was, I really wanted to learn, but I had a friend of mine that was in a mariachi band in Dominican Republic.
Oh, nice.
And he's like, you know what? I'm not using my guitar every day. So how about you have it?
You can borrow it on the off days.
You can borrow it, yeah. And that's what we did. And so I started playing. And
were you playing mariachi music?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I was just playing Nirvana and... So he didn't know this part. I was playing Nirvana and Metallica and learning all those great songs that I liked back then.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So in Boston, Orlando, what next?
It was Boston, Orlando, then back to Boston.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of Miami, but you know, Florida is its own special thing. A little bit of Miami, then came back to Boston, and I'm here. And it just, honestly, after coming back, it hit me like this place was home for me because of the diversity, the acceptance of different cultures and different things. Not that in Orlando wasn't like that, but it just comes natural to Boston.
Yeah.
Like, we're like very open to different things.
So you now live in JP. Were
Yes.
you in JP the whole time or bouncing around here?
I actually, let me think about it for a second. I came back. Yeah, I came back to JP, and yeah, I've been there ever since.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just I've been to so many places. While I was living here, I used to work on an airline, and I was traveling back and forward.
That is a lot of travel.
That's a lot of travel every week, twice.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah.
To where?
To Orlando.
Oh,
So,
okay.
One whole year.
Yeah.
1 whole year.
It's a lot of Orlando.
Yeah. So
it's actually a lot of just airtime, right?
Airtime,
Yeah.
So you could say that I was an air steward or something like that.
Were you?
Not really, but I know everyone and everybody know
Okay.
me. So
Yeah.
it was nice. So
So I first met you through Dorchfest.
yeah,
Thank you, by the way. You were amazing. I
Thank
think
you
you've
so
played
much.
every year, right?
yeah,
Yeah, and you've always got a crowd.
yeah.
Love having you. Hopefully, can have you again next year.
Thank you. Dorchfest is amazing.
Thank you.
By the way,
Thank you.
it's a great organized porch fest. One of the best I ever been to, and it's really fun to play. Yeah.
Everybody loves you there, so keep coming back.
Oh, thank you.
Your style is different. You're Latin fusion right now, kind of Latin fusion-y. I won't put words in your mouth, but that's how I would describe you. But you've been all kinds of different genres throughout your career. So talk about what you're playing now, who inspires you today, and then like where you've come from.
I'm playing some sort of, let's just say, Dominican or Caribbean rock and roll.
I like that. That's cool.
That's what I'm putting my finger on it lately. I've been putting my finger. I don't
Is
like
that
to,
a genre or are you creating that? I think you're making that
I think
genre.
I might be onto something, but there's other people that came before me that have done amazing things.
Yeah.
Like it's worth to mention Luis El Terror Dia, Yacet Tejeda, Vicente Garcia, Richie Oria, and among others that are in Dominican Republic making amazing music.
Okay.
Yeah, so rock has always been part of what we hear, the young people of Dominican Republic. But the fusion with merengue and bachata and all the Dominican rhythms like mangolina, which is a derivative of merengue, just comes naturally.
Do you dance?
I can dance to save my life. I gotta be honest. No, I dance a little bit.
Okay.
But you know,
But you don't want people watching you.
to the Dominican level of
Yeah.
dancing,
Yeah.
how my peers dance,
You're not there.
I'm not there. They even tell me, "Come on, man."
Are you even Dominican?
Yeah. But what I say is, you know what? I play the music, you dance.
That's right.
Yeah.
Everybody has to do a part.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how did you get to this Caribbean rock genre? Like, what was the path?
Trying to find my voice.
Okay.
And when I say trying to find my voice, because we usually think we know who we are till we start digging deep. And through the process of writing music and painting, you have to dig deep
To be good.
to be good or to have something to say, worthy
yeah.
of people listening. And I think that's the key here is that's what I'm trying to do. I would say Caribbean rock, but let's say what it is tomorrow. I have so many influences: blues, rock, a little bit of jazz, and merengue, bachata, bolero, and everything in between, cumbia. Now I've been listening to reggaeton without even wanting for so many years that I kind of like it now. So. Yeah.
That's funny. I've actually always kind of been like on reggae. Like I can take it for a song or two and then I'm usually over it. But I am starting to warm up to a little more. Maybe it's an older thing.
Yeah, and some
I just need the release, less stress in my life.
I know. Some folks may not like what I have to say, but have you listened to the latest record of the biggest reggaeton artist in the world?
No.
Bad Bunny.
Oh, wow. That is a controversial statement.
Yeah. I mean, I listened to the whole record.
Okay.
And I got to say, it's good. It's a good record.
You say it's reggaeton.
It's a little bit of everything. You wouldn't call it reggaeton anymore because it has salsa.
Yeah.
And it has plena, which, he's going back to his roots.
Okay.
And
that's a Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
Okay. So where can people find you besides Dorch Fest? Where else do you perform? You're a busy guy, so this might be a long list.
Yeah. So right now we are working on a record. We are going through a little bit of a transition. As it used to be just me. Now I have a band, Arlex, the band La Experiencia, which you've seen them live, and they're a great group of guys, and a gal that I call friends, and they're amazing humans and great musicians. So. Working with them has sparked so many songs that we are working in the studio. I have a couple of tracks that I'm gonna send to you so you can listen to them, and they're all over the place. They're from merengue to bachata, like I said before, and simply just straight up rock and roll.
Okay.
All at once. So it's interesting.
When is that coming out?
I don't have a date.
Okay.
Because I done that before.
Yeah.
And I just want to make something great.
You don't want the pressure of hitting a date. Yeah, that's fair.
But soon.
You have a SoundCloud, right?
Yes.
And you have a Spotify? You have a Spotify.
SoundCloud, Spotify, and we are in Bandcamp and Instagram more actively.
Okay.
Yeah.
And whereabouts around the city can people find you?
Usually we play, we have a gig coming up at Roundhead Brewery.
Okay.
That's a Contigo Fest, and I believe it's on October 10th.
Okay.
It's a Saturday, so if it's not the 10th, it's a Saturday of that week.
I think that's the 11th.
The 11th.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You also do JP Music Festival
Yes.
each year, right? What's that like?
It's amazing.
Quite the crowd there.
It's a great crowd.
Yeah.
Very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And shout out to Rick and Seamus. They do a great job putting it together.
Is that Rick Berlin?
Yeah. Rick Berlin.
Yeah. He's a legend in the music scene
He
in
is.
Boston.
He is. I look up to him. I'm like, man, when I grow up, I want to be like you. Yeah.
You also are an artist,
Yes.
a visual artist. So talk about how that kind of blends with your music creation and where do you get inspired?
It blends really well because I think it goes hand in hand. So whenever I'm not making music, I'm painting, and I like to be like that. Like if I'm not doing one thing, I'm doing the other.
Yeah.
I'm not in one place or sit still. it helps me kind of like dig deep, find that
Okay.
that spot where I feel the most like myself. And painting has revealed great things for me that I get to apply in music afterwards.
Oh, interesting. So it's kind of unlocked some things that you were then able to use. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's let's just say it's vibration. It's just like, you know, the biggest of all, love. And for painting, my biggest inspirations so far, biggest teachers have been Frida Kahlo, and my most influential painter is Rembrandt.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I when I was a kid, I saw his paintings and I was like, wow, what is this? Yeah. So, and then Frida, just kind of like, I got a few commissions to paint Frida, and I was like, okay, let me dig into this woman, see what she's about. And I really liked that.
Yeah.
So I went to Mexico, to Coyoacan.
Oh,
I went to
that's
her
cool.
house.
Wow.
And it's something that you have to see in person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her energy, like I will say, it's just still in the place.
Okay.
Yeah. All
That's
over the
awesome.
place.
Well, you also record at the record company,
Yes.
and you're just down the hall.
Yes.
So we're going to move down there
Yeah, let's
and
go.
hear you guys play.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Do it.
Thanks, Ray.
Yeah. You're welcome. Thank you.
Noche yo la vi bailando, y en sus ojos la ilusión que había esperado, y sus labios de papel es donde muero. En otra vida le busqué un recuerdo. Reina de la noche, escucha mis plegarias. Ya no seas fantasía, vente a refugiar. Entre sábanas teñidas, fue vivido veneno, sudor y melancolía. Otra noche más, otra noche más. No te vayas a marchar, no te vayas, no, no, no. Otra noche más, la aventura de una noche. En tus ojos yo me vi, mi luz, mi triunfo. Me invitabas a bailar a medianoche y fue algo especial. Otra noche más, otra noche más. No te vayas a marchar, no te vayas, no, no, no. Otra noche más, la aventura de una noche. Dame de tu encanto, de tu buen sabor, de tu amargo vivir.
Hola, ¿cómo están? We are RLX, Ray Liriano Experience. We are a Dorchester-based band, and we are delighted to be here. Thank you for having us. Yeah, we have a few more songs for you. So this song that we just played is called Otra Noche, and the next one is called Antibalas. Hope you guys like it. Antibalas. Here we go. All right, so again, thank you guys for having us. We are the Ray Liriano Experience, RLX, Ray Liriano La Experiencia, para eso de habla hispana. Y esta canción se llama Tus Besos. It's a single that is on Spotify if you guys want to listen to it. And yeah, with that, thank you. Wanted to introduce you to the band. I didn't do that. So wanted to introduce the band. On the keys, we have Robert Silver. El magnífico Robert Silver. Ahí está. En el bajo tenemos a Mr. Henry Terrones, my brother from another mother.
Go Celtics.
On the drums, we have the magnificent Savannah Marshall. And on percussion, we have el maestro Miguel Beato. Y en las voces tenemos a Luna y un servidor Ray Liriano. Así que esta canción, Tus Besos, espero que la disfruten. Es una mezcla de bachata con otros ritmos. Ahí vamos.
Cuando la luna se acueste y el sol en tu ventana y hayas leído unas líneas que dejes sobre tu almohada, y si la brisa de otoño borró tus primaveras, serás tú la flor de mi vida, la más dulce, la más bella. Tú tienes la luz que ilumina mi corazón, mujer, tú tienes la clave que le da ritmo a mi son corazón. Dame tus besos, cariño, que sin tu amor tengo frío. Bailemos un bolero suave, que esta vida es para disfrutarse. Dame tus besos, cariño, que sin tu amor tengo frío. Bailemos un bolero suave, que esta vida es para disfrutarse. Mujer, cuando tú bailas hasta suelto la novela, mi corazón se estremece, llenas mi mundo de fiesta. A bailar dice. Tú tienes la luz que ilumina mi corazón, mujer, tú tienes la clave que le da ritmo a mi son corazón. Dame tus besos, cariño, que sin ti muero de frío. Bailemos un bolero suave, que esta vida es para disfrutarse. Dame tus besos, cariño, que sin ti muero de frío. Bailemos un bolero suave, que esta vida es para disfrutarse. Dame tus besos, cariño, que sin ti muero de frío. Bailemos un bolero suave, que esta vida es para disfrutarse. Dame tus besos, cariño, que sin ti muero de frío. Bailemos un bolero suave, que esta vida es una sola vida, caramba. Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Dot Life, which is available on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. Dot Life is produced and edited by me, Erin Caldwell. Technical support is provided by Yasser Mahmoud. Additional support is provided by the Dorchester Reporter and the Record Company. Thanks to Bill Forry, Bobby Boyd, Paul Nutting, Maria Lyons, Ray Liriano, and the Ray Liriano Experience for joining this week's show. Thank you for listening, and we'd love it if you could share, subscribe, rate, and review the pod wherever you listen. If you're interested in supporting the podcast, visit .lifepod.com for more information.